James Cameron recently appeared on a podcast titled Bows to the Future, episode 23 to be exact, where he talks about the future and AI and how he hopes it could cut the costs in half without laying off any of the staff. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And as mentioned, the podcast titled Bows to the Future is on the Meta YouTube page, and I will leave a link to the podcast itself in the description below. It is about an hour long, so quite lengthy, but definitely worth the time. However, Variety.com did do a great summary of the podcast, which I would like to go over in this video. Now, the article on Variety is written by Zach Sharf and states that James Cameron appeared on the Bows to the Future podcast and said the future of blockbuster filmmaking hinges on being able to cut the costs of visual effects in half, and Cameron is trying to figure out how AI might help bring costs down without replacing crew members. Cameron did announce in September of 2024 that he was joining the board of directors for Stability AI, the company behind the text-to-image model Stable Diffusion, stating, quote, "In the old days, I would have founded a company to figure it out. I've learned maybe that's not the best way to do it. So I thought, alright, I'll join the board of a good, competitive company that's got a good track record. My goal was not necessarily to make a shit pile of money. The goal was to understand the space, to understand what's on the minds of the developers. What are they targeting? What's their development cycle? How much resources you have to throw at it to create a new model that does a purpose-built thing, and my goal was try to integrate it into a visual effects workflow." End quote. Cameron did continue, quote, "And it's not just hypothetical. If we want to continue to see the kinds of movies that I've always loved and that I like to make and that I will go see, Dune, Dune Part 2, or one of my films, or big effects heavy, CG heavy films, we've got to figure out how to cut the costs in half." Now, that's not about laying off half the staff and at the effects company. That's about doubling their speed to completion on a given shot, so your cadence is faster and your throughput cycle is faster, and artists get to move on and go do other cool things and then do other cool things, right? That's my sort of vision for that. End quote. Now, Cameron has long expressed doubt when it comes to AI taking over Hollywood jobs, and he stressed that AI's role in the industry should be to help employees manage their workflow and not replace them. In an interview with CTV News last year, the director expressed doubt over AI bots being able to write a good story and phase out screenwriters. He stated, quote, "I just don't personally believe that a disembodied mind that's just regurgitating what other embodied minds have said about the life that they've had, about love, about lying, about fear, about mortality, and just put it all together into a word salad and then regurgitate it. I don't believe that's ever going to have something that's going to move an audience. You have to be human to write that. I don't know anyone that's even thinking about having AI write a screenplay." End quote. In the Bows to the Future podcast, he said generative AI users should be discouraged from feeding prompts into the software, such as in the style of James Cameron or in the style of Zack Snyder, noting that these kind of ripoffs make him a little bit queasy. Social media had a field day earlier this month with AI generated images that were in the style of Studio Ghibli film. Cameron then stated, quote, "I aspire to be in the style of Ridley Scott, in the style of Stanley Kubrick. That's my text prompt that runs in my head as a filmmaker. In the style of George Miller, wide lens, low, holding ass, coming up into a tight close-up. Yeah, I want to do that. I know my influences. Everybody knows their influences." End quote. Now, as for Avatar Fire and Ash, we know that the movie is going to start with a statement that no AI was used in the making of this movie. And as for what he says about Fire and Ash, he just basically says that he's been watching it a lot, over and over, as the movie is still in post-production. But unfortunately, he didn't reveal anything new about Avatar Fire and Ash, just encouraging people to go see it when it releases December the 19th. As the podcast was more about AI and Cameron's thought on it. So as I said, I highly recommend you have a listen to the podcast. It is very interesting, very fascinating, and I am curious with Avatar 4 set for 2029 and Avatar 5 set for 2031, what AI will be like in 4 to 5 years from now. And since Cameron is part of the board of directors of Stability AI, if in any way there will be a method that he will use AI to essentially speed up production, as he stated in the podcast. But what are your thoughts on this whole discussion and what Cameron has said about cutting the costs in half and how Cameron states AI can help studio? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.